We are now a little more than 2 weeks away from Election Day, and as we've discussed on the program, for many, the economy and inflation have supplanted abortion as their number one issue as they start to fill out their ballots. Many, of course, have already filled out those ballots, and the old saying is, it's the economy, stupid. Well, what is the economy right now? A growing number of economists believe we're headed for a recession if we're not in one already. At times like this, I like to turn to Justin Wolfers, the economist at the University of Michigan, who's back with me again on Flashpoint. Justin, when we talked a couple of months ago, we talked about how complicated this is because I guess by some definitions we're in a recession, 2 straight quarters of negative growth, but you felt it was much more complicated than that at the time, and I'm curious as to where your thinking is now.
Well, at one level more complicated, another level much simpler, which is, as of right now, the US economy is not in recession. Last time we talked, the US economy wasn't in recession, and the US economy hasn't been in recession all through 2022. It's that simple, and it's that simple because there's an array of data, particularly employment data, showing that the economy is continuing to grow. In fact, the number of jobs we added over the past 3 months, the rate of job growth was higher than at any point during the pre-pandemic 2000s. So what's happened is the economy's like a big rubber band. It stretched out and then bounced back. And it bounced back and we started to get a little bit used to these outrageously strong growth numbers. But what we've seen is a little bit slower. So there are some indicators looking a little worse. GDP is one of them.
Yep.
There are a bunch looking a lot better. But overall, the economy has been growing, is growing, and therefore we're not in recession.
The fact that we do have the lowest unemployment right now that we've had in 50 years, and people do seem relatively flush, even though they are, at least the numbers tell us that, even though they're looking at prices that keep getting higher and higher, gasoline, of course, among them, and the cost of food. All of that adds up, though, to a chase into recession, isn't it? I mean, it still means that things are running and burning really hot.
So the difficulty is the economy is doing well, and at some point we've got too many people with too much money chasing not enough goods.
Right.
And the result of that is inflation. Now, that's not the only cause of inflation. You might have noticed we're still coming out of a pandemic. Global supply chains were snarled, and in all sorts of ways, our lives are not the same as they were in 2019, and neither is the economy, and it's taking some time to sort all that out. So we do live in confusing times. It is true that inflation is high, and that's making life difficult for many people. But there's also a really important distinction when you ask people about the economy. If you ask them about the state of the economy, they sound pretty down about things. Now, they're not down about unemployment or jobs. They're down because of inflation. But if you ask them about their own financial situation, it turns out people tell a much more optimistic story. And if instead of asking people, you watch what they do, people are quitting jobs and starting new careers, which is the sort of thing you only do when you have a bit of confidence. People are spending a lot of money, which is the sort of thing you only do when you think the economy's doing okay. So there's a lot of ways you can look at this and see the glass is still half full. That's not a promise it'll continue to be that way. It's just a statement right now. The economy for a lot of people is okay for them, even if they're worried about what it's like for other people.
Well, and that makes it really interesting then as they start to vote. Are they voting on their own personal economy, or are they voting on everything that they're being told and everything they're hearing? In fact, I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on the way that we watch this being politically put to advantage or disadvantage. For some people, it is actually in their better interest if the U.S. goes into a recession, in their electoral interest. And we're watching the president try to pull levers like dipping more into our petroleum reserve, which I'm not sure what your view is on what that might actually do to the price of gas, but what are your concerns about the political energy that is being poured into all of this debate?
My advice to your viewers is if you want honest economic discussion, the 2 weeks leading up to an election day are probably the worst possible moment to find it. And so I want to point out there are two truths. There's one important truth that Democrats will tell you a lot about, which is the economy has recovered from the pandemic. Life today is, by most economic measures, better than life was in 2019. Unemployment is at a 50-year low. We're creating new jobs all the time. That's true. That's a story that they really ought to and are trumpeting. There's another set of facts that Republicans are emphasizing. Prices are rising. They're rising at the highest rate in 40 years. People are worried. They feel powerless. Some of this may be due to government policy, some of it may be due to the pandemic, and some of it is surely due to Putin. So some things are looking okay, some things not so much. On the question you asked, Evan, it's a really interesting one. When it comes to the polls, what matters? Is it the condition that your family's in or the condition of the economy as a whole? Now, I teach in the economics department, and up the road we've got a political science department with a whole bunch of people who study this for a living. And I've got to tell you, they're still not sure what the answer is. So maybe the midterms are going to be a good test of this.
Absolutely. I'm fascinated to watch how this plays out. But two other things that are at work here that I guess seem to spell a little bit on the gloom side. Number one, the stock market hit its high for the year back in January. It's down about 17% since then. The other thing, Justin, is we, of course, watched this big bubble develop in the housing market during COVID, which we all kind of understood how that worked, but it seems to be bursting at the moment. We're watching house prices coming down. These are two things that are being felt more immediately, right? And for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. So let me start with the stock market. It is disappointing. Many of us have seen our portfolios. They're worth less today than they were a year ago. There's another perspective on this. Again, go back to January of 2020. We were on the cusp of a pandemic, a global pandemic, a global recession of the likes we've never seen before. And it was unimaginable to me back then that 2.5 short years later, the stock market would in fact still be higher than it was on the eve of the pandemic. So buying stock and holding it through the worst negative shock in your lifetime still made you money. That's kind of extraordinary. Now, what's happened is it's not making you as much money as you were making a year ago. But so, you know, that's the stock market saying we're still optimistic about the state of the U.S. economy, even if we're not as crazy optimistic as we were a year ago.
Oh, interesting. Lastly, Justin, it seems to be a favorite economist parlor game right now to talk about the percentages, the likelihood that we tilt into a recession. Some are putting it at 50-50, others a little lower, a little higher. What's your gauge read right now?
Let me give your viewers two ways of thinking about this. One is the Wall Street Journal just did a survey in which economists there said the chance of a recession in 2023 is 63%, which is alarmingly high. Let me give you another answer, which is the economy's doing pretty well. In any given year, there's roughly a 1 in 7 chance that we'll fall into recession. That's because over the past 100 years, we've had 14 recessions. So I reckon the number's somewhere between 14% and 63%. The more pessimistic you are about the news you've been hearing, the more you're close to 63. And the more that you just think the economy's working out some post-pandemic kinks, then maybe you could afford to be a little more optimistic.
Interesting. And of course, we'll wait and see what happens with our pandemic issue and COVID as we move into the fall and the winter. Justin, you are so good at cutting a whale into bite-sized pieces. It's always good to turn to you for your thoughts. I appreciate the time.